Chinese people say one has to make use of the local resources available. This is not only an example of people adapting to their local conditions, it is also a natural way of living according to Chinese characteristics. They take great advantage of every inch of ground that they stand on, and their ability to seek out food is instinctual. From the fertile and rich plains to the plentiful rivers and lakes, from the cold and desolate plateau to the urban landscape dominated by high-rises, where there is green, there is harmony between the sky above and the people below. Pan Yin-shao and Huang Lanrong are natives of the Zhuang ethnic minority of Guizhou province. They live in Xiaorao village, over 300 kilometers away from the capital city of Guiyang. The stems which they are picking give off a fresh fragrance. They look like common leaves, but they will play a magical role during the holiday which is approaching. The Kongjiang County in Guizhou province is the mountainous area for the Tong, Miao, Zhuang ethnic minorities. The people there have lived on a diet of glutinous rice since ancient times. In the terrace fields, hundreds of glutinous rice plants are planted in the ground. The scattered residences are like solitary islands, surrounded by remote mountains. Pan and Huang can speak Mandarin. They've undergone secondary school education, but they have never left Songqiang County. This is a maple leaf from the mountains nearby. The gifts provided by nature endow the people with an abundance of possibilities, and the local people always make proper use of such gifts. October is the harvest season for the sticky rice. Xiaorao village, where the Zhuang minority live, is preparing for the upcoming rice harvest festival. According to its texture, rice is divided into two types, glutinous and non-glutinous. The sticky rice is called glutinous rice. It contains an abundance of starch, which makes the rice sticky and resilient after it's boiled. Pan and Huang prepare to cook the leaves in the boiling water. After being stewed a little, the leaves dissolve the green-yellow coloured liquid, which is the natural staining agent for glutinous rice. The soaking glutinous rice turns black after it's boiled. Now they are using another plant to dye the glutinous rice yellow. Dyeing the food using plants is an ancient method. It not only provides a remote and solitary community with the joy of colour, but also preserves the natural character of the food. The rice is incredibly rich in fatty oils, which helps ward off hunger. It's deemed by local people as the most reliable foodstuff available. Jiache village, not far from Xiaorao village, also grows glutinous rice. This is Miao ethnic village. Wang Xiaozhong is 58 years old. People of his age are referred to as sticky rice children by the locals. It means that the village elders were raised on a diet of sticky rice. In the 1960s, in order to increase the output of rice, the government introduced a variety of productive non-glutinous rice. As a result, the younger generation were raised on this non-glutinous rice. But for Wang Xiaozhong, eating glutinous rice is the only way that he believes that can make him strong. The terrace fields in the mountains are not suitable for mechanized harvest methods. so the people there still use the traditional methods. Compared to the plains, growing rice on the steep and barren mountains requires a higher level of wisdom. Alongside the mountain, Wang's ancestors created this area using their hands. In ancient times, sticky rice was the main source of food for the Wu and Yue nations in the Yangtze River Basin. During the Qin and Han dynasties, ethnic groups from the north expanded to the southern regions and introduced sticky rice to this area. But the sticky rice was not the only gain that the region acquired. There were other hidden secrets lying in the paddy field. 1,000 years ago, Wang's ancestors found that carp and ducks could be raised alongside one another in the rice field. The carp and the ducks help clear any pests from the sticky rice plants, and their feces provides sufficient nutrients to the rice. As a result, pesticides and fertilizers have never been used in the soil here. The quality of sticky rice is excellent, but the yield of the plant is only half that of the paddy rice. The cultivated area for glutinous rice in China accounts for less than 5% of the area for paddy rice. But the people in the mountains still spread seeds according to the practices of their ancestors. They also live on the sticky rice. These ancient varieties of sticky rice are genetically diverse. Their presence provides the dinner tables of today and tomorrow with incredible value. Today, in Wang's village, some young people have abandoned the life of growing sticky rice and have instead chosen to settle in the city. As the practice of cultivating sticky rice continues to decline, traditional methods of farming, a collective way of life for many, have gradually faded away. The main food for the harvest festival has been prepared. Pan and Huang start to make the main course, Sous fish. Songjiang is humid and damp for the entire year. In order to avoid the growth of bacteria, most of the fish are salted in order to preserve the meat. Locals believe that spices help them remove moisture from the body. The special taste of letsia, pungence and acid from the fermented galangal form the unique flavour of the sour fish soup, a speciality dish of the Zhuang minority in the county. The county feast is about to start. Xiaobao village is famous for Weiju. It's a kind of liquor made using local sticky rice. This liquor is made by Pan Yin Shao. It's been preserved for 7 years. The long table banquet can display group cooperation and sharing. As an intangible cultural heritage, it has now come to the world's attention. The ethnic groups living in the barren lands in the mountains have created delicious food thanks to their wisdom. But in order to gain and harvest food from the vast ocean, people must possess a completely different set of extraordinary skills. Wang Defeng is a new diver. His master, Wang Shuhui, is also young, but he has 15 years' worth of diving experience. It's summer now, but this outfit is still not enough to resist the cold water. Today is the first working day for Wang Defeng. Wang Shuhui will lead him to complete this unusual journey. Their work involves tracking down a precious marine creature. This sea cucumber is sleeping quietly. But its summer plans for relaxation are about to come to a sudden end. Jiangxi Island. It's in the North Yellow Sea. Less than 15 square kilometers in area, it's endowed with a wealth of marine life. Under the blue waves lives a thriving community. Invertebrate, including sea cucumbers, abalone and sea urchins, regarded as the treasures of the sea, are all abundant here. Pure water and active ocean currents create their special living conditions. It's a strange and new world, but Defeng is too busy to appreciate it. As a newcomer, diving 30 meters underwater makes him feel out of sorts.
At the bottom of the sea, without sunlight, the surroundings are incredibly dark. He is scared and experiences a feeling of fear. As I hold his hand, I can feel his fear. His hand was very stiff under the sea, trembling.
The family of sea cucumbers has been living on the earth for 600 million years. But so far, apart from the Spanish, only Chinese have mastered the art of cooking sea cucumber. But the sea cucumber collected by Shuhui and Defeng is not indigenous to this area. 3 years ago, billions of cultivated sea cucumber seedlings were fostered in these waters. The period of growth for them and their counterparts is the same. Several varieties of marine life, including abalone, scallops and sea urchins, are all fostered using the same methods. 2,000 square kilometers of sea off Jiangxi Islands has become China's, possibly even Asia's, largest marine pasture. This is an example of cooperation between humans and nature. It's allowed man to realize the dream of taking advantage of the ocean with a minimal amount of ecological damage. Seafood is very important for our survival. It provides more than half of China's total population with its source of protein. The most representative example of sea cucumber being used in Chinese food is Shandong's most famous dish, scallion-flavored sea cucumbers. Sea cucumber is rich in protein, and it turns gluey, supple and slippery after being boiled. It is complemented with fragrant green onions. Abalone, in today's China, is also regarded as high-end seafood. It became famous much later than the sea cucumber, and is the new favourite addition to a luxurious feast. The generous profit to be made from seafood inspires the sea explorers. Every morning they are busy working. Anchored ships are arranged in different areas. Ocean currents in this stretch of sea area are very active. People have been washed away in such conditions, and it's very hard to stem the currents. However, the worse the environment is, the richer the profits. Underneath the currents on the seaweed-covered rocks rests the freshest seafood, abalone. Abalone likes to hide in the gaps between rocks where it can evade capture. Abalones are rock climbers. Their wide feet can absorb 200 kilograms and even in the raging sea can still cling to the rocks. It makes them very difficult to catch.
When you see the abalone, think they are good enough, then cling to the side of the rock and try to scrape it off as fast as you can. Won't have more than one chance to do this.
Xu Hui and De Feng work in the waves. When they reach the seashore, they cannot wait to show off their harvest. One rare type of seafood is not present, because the season for it is approaching. 45-year-old Wang Huxi is preparing for the last dive of his working career. His equipment includes a special lead weight, helmet and shoes. The total weight of all this equipment exceeds 50 kilograms. It allows him to dive 40 meters underwater. Sea urchins are an ancient marine creature, but it was included into Chinese cuisine in the past 30 years. It's all part of the popularity of Japanese cuisine in China. The most basic and popular way to eat sea urchin is to eat them rare, because the sea urchin yolk lies in its hard shell. This delicacy only comes around every June to August each year. After completing this harvest, Wang Huxi will say goodbye to his job. In China, the retirement age for heavy diving is 45 years old. The stage now belongs to De Feng. It's an arduous task. Within 6 hours, De Feng and Xu Hui have to go back and forth several times.
Continuously going up and down. The highest record for a harvest of scallops from under the sea is about 2,500 to 3,000 kilograms. In the large restaurants in Dalian, when I see people eating abalone, scallops, and sea cucumber, I have a feeling of pride. These were all picked up one by one by our divers.
Xu Hui and De Feng are exhausted. This is De Feng's first harvest as a diver. Some immature scallops are thrown back into the sea. It's not easy to harvest marine life from the waters. People from Jiangxi Island explore treasures in the sea, while people living beside Taihu Lake enjoy being able to eat the fruits of such hard labor without the need to toil. In October, during the period of full moon as the northwest winds approach, crab Little Tai quietly climbs out of the water. The day has arrived for it to set off. The ancient instinct to breed in the ocean drives Little Tai and its companions to leave the lake and find their way to the wide open ocean. Little Tai lives in Huzhou, Zhejiang province, in a breeding pond of almost 3 hectares. 7 months ago, it, along with over 20,000 companions, came here. They were the size of buttons, but now they are much stronger. A few days ago, Little Tai shed its outer exterior for the 19th time. This is the most important and final time for it to shed its exterior. It marks the moment that it becomes a real hairy crab. In China, crabs have been eaten for around 4,000 years. Chinese people, familiar with the ways of cooking, advocate simple ways to steam crab. Steaming is the best way to preserve the natural taste of eating crab. The part of the crab recommended as being the freshest is in the main shell. But unless one has enough skill and patience, most will be unable to make the best use of it. Crab has had its position in Chinese cuisine all the time. Compared with the past, few people today eat wild river crab. The scientific name of the river crab is Eriochia sinensis. During its breeding period, this crab moves in crowds from the tributaries and lakes in which they inhabit. They head to the entrance of the Yangtze River. Because of ecological environmental changes, today the wild river crab is extremely rare. Little Tai is the result of artificial breeding. The water in the pond comes from the Taihu Lake. Little Tai eats the marshy weeds, small fish and shrimp that live in the pond. Compared to its counterparts, Little Tai has a longer growth period and a stronger body. Although it lives in the same pond as its companions, Little Tai has a different price tag. Depending on the weight, a 100-gram hairy crab can sell for 25 yuan. Meanwhile, the price of a 350-gram hairy crab could be 20 times higher. Little Tai has not disappointed its owner. It weighs over 350 grams. The traditional crab season only lasts for 2 months, and due to the expensive price, only a few Chinese people are able to enjoy the delicious taste of crab. But the situation led to the creation of a new dish made from common ingredients that have no relation to crab. Now, the culinary master starts his magic. The combination is not complex, but the results are amazing. The taste of this dish is similar to that of crab. In China, using cheap food materials that can transform a food's taste is an interesting cooking theme. And this dish has a proud name: crab flavor fish. At present, the hairy crab has become one of the most profitable breeding industries here in China. In the natural rivers, 1/15 of a hectare is inhabited by about 100 wild river crabs. However, in 1/15 of a hectare of breeding water lives at least 600 crabs. Little Tai and its companions lack both food and oxygen. The crab breeder needs an assistant to get reeds from the Taihu Lake and put them in the breeding waters. These reeds can purify the water and thus feed the crabs. In the production area of the river crab, people have great creativity in using this food in cooking. Steamed dumplings stuffed with crab meat in Xinjiang is an example of a classical crab dish which has been eaten for hundreds of years. With complicated and sophisticated materials, mainly crab roe and crab meat, people cook these special dumplings using traditional ways. Each dumpling has 32 folds. The power of steam fuses the best features of the crab into the soup. The pastry dough stuffed with hot soup is razor thin and resilient. The secret of the pastry is kept by its producers. This unique skill is not only a challenge for chefs, but also for diners. Those who buy hairy crabs mainly come from cities, among which the Shanghai people are the largest consumers. This trend is related to its location. Shanghai lies at the mouth of the Yangtze River, which was the starting point of a wild river crab's life. Although the hairy crab is so expensive, the shrewd Shanghai residents never hesitate over buying this delicacy consumption. As a representative of foodies from the south of the Yangtze River, Shanghai residents are the most fussy critics. They eat hairy crabs according to the specific seasons. They believe that the female crab reaches its best condition in the 9th lunar month and the male one in the 10th. 50 kilometers north of Shanghai lies the home of hairy crabs, Chongming Island. Geological movements in the ancient times created the world's largest alluvial island at the river's mouth, the Yangtze River Delta, a rich and fertile land. It has a history of over 8,000 years. Currently, it is the most developed region in China. During the fast urbanization process, the city of Xinhua in Jiangsu province, lying in the north of the Yangtze River Delta, seems to have been forgotten by time. On a hot summer afternoon, Xia Juntai and Wang Yuanfeng are boating in a lake. They're there to irrigate a tall and water-thirsty vegetable. This kind of unique land under their feet is Duotian. The middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River is the most populous region in China. Thus, imagination is required in order to provide sufficient food in an area of limited land. Duotian is the poetic result of the local people's creativity. More than 1,000 years ago, this area was covered with low marshlands. In order to prevent floods, people stacked up soil above the water level. The sludge left behind by the floodwaters was duotian. Among all rich vegetables growing here, the robust taros make up the majority. The duotian, surrounded by waters, are able to meet the great demand of this plant. It's all thanks to the presence of the water. There is little room for Xia to stand. And what's more, the taro's stem and leaf is as tall as a human being. The scooping ladle is a tool made by the farmers themselves. When using a long bamboo stick appropriately, one can spread water high and far. Xia has to water the taro 4 times every day for an hour each time. This ensures that the taro receives the water.
When the sun burns, the more you water it, the faster it grows.
49-year-old Xia has 2 sons. Both of them work in the city. His wife is his only assistant. In the taro's peak growing season, Xia and his wife are busy with their farm work, even having their lunch on the boat. Many wild fish live in the lake. Catching a fish and boiling it in lake water makes for a delicious picnic. In the summer, fertilizing is another important aspect of Xia's work. Fertilizer lies under their feet. Lake sludge mixed with reeds is the best organic fertilizer. Xia and his wife tend to after the taros, just as they would tend to their own children. In the autumn, the taro's leaves begin to wither away, while its roots become mature.
This taro is really big, about 3.5 or 4 kilograms in weight.
The edible part of the taro is its large corm. Taro is highly nutritious and easy to store. Over the past 2,000 years, taro has been widely grown in the southern part of the Yangtze River Basin. The Longshang taro, with its smooth skin, looks sturdy and cute. It is the pride of Xiajiantai. The Longshang taro grown on the Duotian is gentle and elegant. In ancient times, grain harvest was unstable. As a result, taro became an important food for preventing hunger. When taro harvest season arrived, crabs in the lake are also getting fat. On the menu of the Huaiyang cuisine, the local flavoured tofu stuffed with crab roe still remains. Cooked in oil, the crab roe gives off a pleasant fragrance. Mild tofu and taro become bright and sleek after being mixed with crab roe. But in Shah's view, taro with stewed pork in brown sauce is much more delicious. Taro and pork is cooked in soy and vinegar. The pork smells fragrant and is not oily, and the taro fully absorbs gravy. In Xinhua, people cannot do without the taro when festivals arrive. In the most vibrant economic region, Xiajiantai's family has been living in the rural area of Xinhua for generations. He may be the last one in the family that still works on the farmland. However, he still enjoys everything here. The natural Duotian, his wife and his family. Along the existing lake and riverbank, Xianghua people build Duotian and grain abundant fruits as a result. This type of living conforms to the natural wisdom of the locals. But on the plateau, 3,000 to 4,000 meters above, the harvest of any kind of crop deserves a huge celebration. On an August morning, it is still chilly on the plateau. Sung Ye gets up early today. It's a significant day. Her other family members are still fast asleep. Sung Ye is the most capable member of her family. 2 days later, the barley grains on the rolling highlands will be turned into fine wine. A new day starts with high expectations. The Qinghai Tibet Plateau is regarded as the roof of the world. Yalung Sang Po River runs through mountains towards the bottom of the valley in the southern heart of Tibet, the richest agricultural area in Tibet, Shigatse. The Tibetan people here have been planting highland barley for generations. It is a staple food of the people here. Thanks to the nutrition and energy they receive from the plant, the people are able to survive on the lonely plateau. Water in the pot has been completely absorbed by the highland barley. The next procedure is crucial. Because overheating it will make the barley wine bitter. Sung Ye always controls the temperature very well. Outside the village, the highland barley is ripe. Highland barley has the highest content of gluten among all grains. It is very resistant to the cold, which means the plant can grow on the bleak plateau. The low atmospheric pressure on the plateau means you can never cook something thoroughly. People must first stir-fry the highland barley and then process it. Samba is the final form of highland barley as a staple food. Barley powder, butter tea, large chunks of butter and milk crumbs complements samba the best. Mixtures of food with the highest calorie content possible is attributable to the special demands of living on the plateau. In extreme cold, people need to refuel through food. The growth of each highland barley plant means a lot. The Encore Festival, falling before the barley harvest, is the grandest event of a year. Walking around the farmland is the most essential ritual during the festival. Every family chooses their significant members to participate in the ritual. This ancient ritual has a history of over 1,000 years in Shigatse, passed on from generation to generation. It is a crucial time for people to express their respect and thankfulness.
We thank God. It is God who grants highland barley to the plateau. The barley raises us, and we depend on it to survive. We pray to God for favourable weather and for a good harvest of highland barley.
On the sacrificial altar, handprints made using barley powder are left with strong spiritual power. People believe that the sound of prayer is able to reach the heavens. The celebration of Encore Festival lasts for an entire week. Every family puts up colourful tents. Sung Ye finishes the barley wine.
At the Encore Festival, women in our village have to make barley wine. I hope everyone likes my wine.
Sung Ye's barley wine is fine and sweet, and it's applauded by many people. Food in Tibet, like everything on the plateau, is natural and simple. The simplicity has also won a place in cities thousands of miles away. The food materials are natural, but they can be combined and cooked in various ways. For many inland people, things on the plateau are mystifying and captivating. The busy harvest has started. The cold weather ripens the highland barley 2 months later than inland grains. Harvest falls during the rainy season. Regardless of which family the barley belongs to, neighbours come to help in order to reap and dry the barley during the sunny days. Highland barley, which has been put into bundles, is piled tidily on the plateau, with snow-covered Himalayas in the background. These farmers nearest to the sky find it hard to imagine how people in popular cities could ever possibly feel the true sense of nature. Zhang Guichun is a native of Beijing. In the morning during springtime, he does not follow the usual patterns of his neighbours, such as walking with caged birds or practicing Tai Chi. For Guichun, the hobbies of Beijingers have been replaced by seedlings growing on the roof. 5 months later, the seeds grown by Guichun will create a small hanging miracle in the city where he lives. Beijing. It's the largest city in North China. It accommodates over 20 million people. Over the past 800 years, it became the capital of several dynasties. Today, it is a prosperous international metropolis. High-rises surround the ancient forbidden city, and the streets and alleys are full of different tastes. Guichun lives in a traditional hutong, or alley. He has an extraordinary dream. to own his own vegetable garden. It's a luxurious wish. More and more people are moving to the city, where land is the most treasured resource. As a result, Guichen has put his dream on the roof. Seeds grow quietly on the ground. The rearing pond on the roof still contains ice from last year. When summer comes, Guichen's roof is transformed.
There are a total of 3 truckloads of soil. I carry this soil one pail after another, because it is the roof of the building. Lots of people try to tell me that growing vegetables with this little soil is not like planting vegetables in the earth. Can you grow vegetables there? Impossible. I don't believe what they say. I tried the experiment several times, because I majored in traditional Chinese medicinal plants. I added several types of medicinal Chinese plants to the fertilizer, and the effect is amazing. I astonished myself. They're all large. The largest melon was 19.75 kilograms last year.
While others flock to the market to take vegetables home, Guichen is like a comfortable farmer, using his local materials in a self-sufficient manner. The tomatoes Guichen grows are sour, sweet and fresh. The old taste, several decades ago, inspires a certain amount of nostalgia. Guichen, who moved his vegetable garden to the roof, has his own ideas on how to eat. Kushaw flowers in bud are the delicacy of his rooftop creations.
They're not sold outside. This is a self-made delicacy, fried slowly and evenly in warm oil and gradually twisted. The Kushaw flowers will turn yellow very gradually. The dish is very pretty. Add some salt and pepper and then enjoy. The dish is delicious and tender with a crispy crust.
Even though this is ordinary home cooking, the fresh ingredients and healthy benefits put people's mind at ease. In the urban area, lots of rooftops are unused, but Guichen's roof is full of vigor. It's like a busy biological club.
Don't stay caged up inside. It's so boring. Going anywhere, it's fine. Get back when dinner starts.
This is an ideal habitat. The rooftop garden. From the first day of construction, it was clear that Guichen faced a huge test when the sun beat down oppressively at noon. The 15-centimeter deep soil couldn't retain any water.
I consulted so many people. No one agreed to water the garden at noon.
Seeing that his plants were dying in the heat, Guichen decided to go for it.
I poured the water slowly, cultivating it in a high temperature to make it adapt to the water. The trees didn't die, and they adapted to my new process after half a month. Then I watered a larger area. The plants are used to it now.
适应它半个月吧，然后就大面积的浇它，它就完全适应。
In summer, the urban area is now surrounded by the tropical island effect. The heat irritates people, but Guichen's roof garden is a cool and refreshing world. On the green roof, with an area less than 100 square meters, each leaf is purifying the urban air. This is the gift that Guichun is giving back to the city. The autumn starts today. Guichun wants to invite his neighbors to eat dumplings.
Eat, eat, eat more. You must be hungry, aren't you? Eat. Good.
The filling of the dumplings is made from the produce harvested from Guichun's garden.
Every day it grows a little. It's this big. To see it get bigger.
To see it get bigger gives me a feeling of fulfillment like a child. That's about 10 kilograms.
The melon is so thick.
At the beginning of autumn, the weather starts to turn cold. Chinese people from the north like to eat dumplings. This custom is known as sticky autumn fat in Beijing. The dumplings containing vegetables and meat are the ideal source of energy for common people.
Would you mind if I sing for you a little?
This is my first time eating this.
Is it good?
It is delicious.
Every day, when night falls, different kinds of diners hang around in thousands of restaurants across Beijing. In these restaurants, manna of all food is gathered from across the nation and from abroad. But Guichun and his neighbors also enjoy their food, produced by themselves and nature.
Stand still. Look at me. Listen. Don't run far away while playing outside. Stay away from those big birds. Be back when it rains. Go, go, go outside and play.
In various regions, Chinese people use their own wisdom to get the most out of nature. This wisdom is a product of respect towards the heavens and a sentimental attachment to the earth. A writer describes the simple life view of Chinese people in the following words: no matter whether they plow with their heads down or they bow their heads to eat, they will never forget to raise their heads to the sky.